Almost 2 years ago, I made a video called Why I Stopped Using My Kindle. This is by far my most popular video, and recently I've started using my Kindle again. So in this video, I'm going to explain why I regained my love for it and why I think it's a great device, and probably also what I don't like about it. When I've published a video on YouTube or the internet in general, I never rewatched that video because it's too painful looking at yourself. It's enough sitting here making the video and then editing it. So I can't say for sure what I said in that Kindle video I made a while ago, but I'm guessing that the content was something along the lines of I am too vain, I have to have the physical copy in my hands, and that's probably why I don't like my Kindle. So I think that was the conversation I had, and I've just pulled myself together a little bit because I do a lot of traveling and having a book with me is just a bit cumbersome at times. So I think that was my main motivation for trying to spend more time with my Kindle now. And it is the first advantage. It's the advantage of just having this in your luggage instead of having a book. And even worse is when you have a book that you're almost finished with and you really don't want to read another book, you have to finish it. And then you start wondering if you should have brought a book number 2 or if you're just going to plan to buy a new book when you're out traveling. So there is a lot of dilemmas out there. I know for many of you this conversation might be silly, but I tend to overthink these things, so it's not as easy as many of you might think. All of this is kind of self-explanatory. We can all visualize this being quite easily carried in your luggage. Also, having the ability to have several books on this one is a great thing. So now I'm going to go into the stuff that surprised me a bit, or the things that I didn't quite think of before I decided spending more time with this one, and that crept up on me. And the first reason has nothing to do with the Kindle itself, it's more the environment around it. Because the first thing I did when I decided to go for this was that I logged into Amazon and subscribed to their newsletter. The second thing is that I signed up for BookBub, so I got offers each day. So instead of seeking out book reviews on Goodreads or Storygraph or asking someone, I got 10 suggestions mailed to me every day and I had to read through them. And instead of basing my selection on ratings, I went for the stories that sounded more cool, without knowing anything about the author or the rest. The only thing is that they always write something like this bestseller or this Pulitzer Prize winner or something along those lines. So that may affect my opinion, and I have to be honest, I haven't read a lot of the books that I haven't yet tried to discover myself, but the ones that I've received through this mailing service has been good, and I love that I am not that affected by things from the outside. Because let's face it, one of the downsides to having an e-reader is that the books aren't especially cheaper. I know that for some devices, and especially in the US, you can borrow things through the library, but you can't really do that here with my device at least. So that wasn't an option, so I couldn't buy an ebook for 10 bucks. That just seems a bit crazy. I know some people on Bookstagram or BookTube complain that we all read the same books, so this might be one way of not reading the same books as everyone else. At least that's my feeling about it. The second thing I thought I'd speak about is lighting. I'm sure that if you're not in your regular reading chair, you will have thought about the light source being quite a varying factor in your life. And this hasn't really annoyed me that much before, but I've been traveling quite a lot lately, and just being reassured that my backlit Kindle will help me and my eyes to focus and read a lot, it's a great thing. So in hotels especially, you might have one light beside your bed. That might be a terrible light, and at this time of year we're going into a darker period, and it just helps me a bit knowing that I will always be able to read my Kindle. Also, you can vary how much brightness you want to have on your Kindle. It's just an amazing feature. A second thing about lighting is that if you read on your bed and you have a spouse or something along those lines, and if that person doesn't like reading as much as you do, your light may interrupt that person's sleep, while if you're on your Kindle or another device like it, it won't interrupt your spouse that much. So this might save your marriage. I don't know if you've been to one of those fights, but this is a silencer to that fight. The third thing about the Kindle is how much easier it is for me to take a break from a book. So if you're reading a physical copy, you might look at the physical copy in your shelf and you can see the bookmark sort of halfway through it, and you can blame yourself for giving it up temporarily. Or you might be a sane person, but either way, I find it reassuring to knowing that the Kindle will know which page you're on. You don't have to be afraid of your bookmark running away or some of your kids stealing it. So that will always just be there waiting for you. I don't know if this is just me, but I find it a lot easier just picking up the Kindle. Also, maybe a point number 4, you can pick up your cell phone and read those pages that you couldn't get through on your Kindle. So if you're on the subway and you just want to get into the book again, you can open your phone if you don't have your Kindle with you and just continue reading. And having those two things, so your phone is probably always with you. The lighting is worse. It doesn't feel the same, but it can make you feel progress. So if you just want to read more, if you're like me 3-4 years ago and you want to get into this, you can just pick up your phone a lot more with the Kindle app instead of the other apps, I guess. This is especially useful if you have a big book that you just want to push through. I have some of those and I still like having read them. So having a book with 500 to 1,000 or more pages, it just feels better watching your progress bar on your Kindle. You can switch between location or percentage so you know exactly how much you have left. And this just feels better. And the next thing I thought I'd speak about is how much faster you feel like you're progressing, or at least that's the case with me. Like pushing next here all the time instead of turning pages just feels better. And I've found that actually having a bigger font size makes you turn the pages faster, even though you're reading probably at the same pace. It just feels better, I guess. And also the font size is great if you're having troubles with your eyes. I'm wearing contact lenses now and usually I wear glasses, and so being able to adjust that just feels good. The next one might be very specific, but if you have a topic that you want to learn more about, I find it easier to do that with the Kindle because you can break. So if you have a chapter and you want to sort of digest that chapter, I find it easier just doing that on your Kindle and put it away, and then you can read chapter number 2 in 6 months, especially if they don't have something to do with each other. If they're just one topic and then the next topic, I do like to read those books on the Kindle. I've got 2 tips left in this video, and the first one is kind of dumb, and that is if you're eating something and you still want to read, it's a lot easier just doing this and turn the page by slamming this one into your face rather than trying to handle a book and then it's just very easy to turn a page with your head, and I think it's a good tip, but it sounds a bit silly. The second thing is something that I base on your feedback, and that is if you live in the US and people always come up to you and ask you what you're reading and how you feel about the book and your life story, I think that might be avoided if you read with your Kindle. At least my family thinks that I'm on an iPad or something when I'm reading on this one, so that might be a life hack for many of you if you spend hours talking to people about books and you don't really feel like it. So that's a very introverted tips for you. And lastly, I think the only thing I don't really like about the Kindle is that it's a Kindle. So I now wish that it was a Kobo because it's not Amazon. So that's pretty much it. And I also wished that I could have downloaded books from Libby down to my Kindle, but I can't because I'm not in the US. So thank you, world, I guess. So these were my thoughts. If you have thoughts on the Kindle or an e-reader, please comment them below. And if you have questions to me, also leave them below. Thank you for watching this video. Consider subscribing if you like this kind of video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!